The evacuation order arrived at 3:17 a.m., the faint light of dawn barely touching the horizon. Daniel Harper was already awake, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling with eyes wide open, listening to the quiet hum of electricity running through the walls. The house was too silent, too still, like it was waiting for something. When his phone vibrated on the bedside table, it felt louder than thunder in the empty house, a shock that made his chest tighten. He picked it up slowly, almost expecting it to explode in his hands. The message was simple, short. Cold, mandatory evacuation. Leave immediately, no explanation, no reasoning, just a command etched in the sterile glow of the screen. Daniel didn't panic. He didn't move. He simply sat there, absorbing the weight of the words. Finally, he whispered one word to himself. Again. Within minutes, lights flickered on across the neighborhood, as if the entire town had been waiting for the signal. Doors slammed. Cars started. Tires squealed in the darkness. People shouted names into the empty streets, calling to friends and family they hoped weren't already gone. Daniel stood behind his window, watching the chaos unfold, his figure barely visible against the dim glow. Silhouettes ran past his house like shadows in a nightmare, carrying hurried belongings, their faces pale with urgency. Everyone was running away from something no one had explained, something they feared but could not name. He stayed. He just watched, then the sirens began, not the usual police or fire alarms. These were deeper, slower, almost vibrating through the ground. They carried a resonance that felt subterranean, like the hum of something massive stirring beneath the earth. Daniel pressed his hand to his chest, feeling the vibration pulse through him, as if the town itself was breathing, alive and aware. He had heard nothing like it before. Not even during storms, not even in the distant echoes of past warnings. These sirens were different, personal, a sound that demanded attention. 12 years earlier, the same sound had filled the night, thick and foreboding. A different night. Same fear. He remembered standing in the hallway of his childhood home, clutching his mother's hand, obeying the order to evacuate. That night had ended with a loss that still haunted him. His family hadn't come back. The memories crept in like shadows, filling the corners of his mind with the weight of guilt and fear. And now, 12 years later, the same vibrating fear had returned, but Daniel did not move. He would not run. By sunrise, the town was empty. Not a single engine roared, not a footstep echoed. Only wind rolled debris down the cracked streets. Rusted signs creaked. Broken branches scratched the walls of abandoned homes. Daniel stepped outside, feeling the gravel crunch beneath his boots. Every step seemed amplified, a loud reminder that he was alone. A single child's shoe lay near the curb. Clean, untouched, strange in the emptiness of a deserted world. No footprints surrounded it. No indication that anyone had been here after the rush. Only the shoe, a symbol of life, suddenly halted. By mid-morning, military trucks rolled into the town. Dust clouded the streets. Soldiers moved deliberately, marking doors with green paint, inspecting houses with mechanical precision. The air smelled faintly of fuel and metal. They paused in front of Daniel's house. One soldier stared at him, measuring, assessing. There was a pause, an unspoken question in the gaze. Then the truck moved on, leaving him standing there in silence, watched and unmolested. Daniel exhaled slowly. He had expected confrontation, perhaps orders, but none came. Daniel's phone rang. Unknown number. Heart pounding, he answered. "Sir." A calm but urgent voice said, "You are still inside the evacuation zone." Looked at his empty street. A gentle breeze stirred dust along the curb. "I know," he replied, another pause. "Sir, you shouldn't be there." The line went dead, no explanation. No further warnings, just a reminder that he was alone and choices had consequences. Daniel Harper was not a hero. He wasn't reckless or fearless. He was a librarian, quiet, observant, invisible in most situations. He followed rules, lived by routines. But this order, he ignored it, not out of arrogance, not out of stupidity. Something told him he had to stay. Something told him that leaving would make all the difference. Inside the house, Daniel pried a loose floorboard from the hallway. Beneath it was a small wooden box, worn but sturdy, inside. An old photograph, a silver Kia cassette tape marked "Do Not Play." His hands trembled as he lifted them, the weight of memories pressing down. The photograph felt warm in his palm, heavy with untold stories. The photo showed his wife Anna and his son Caleb. They were smiling, standing proudly in front of this very house, taken 2 days before the last evacuation. 2 days before they vanished. Daniel stared at it, feeling the time collapse, memories and fears mixing into one sharp, cold reality. He couldn't touch the past, but it gripped him, demanded he remember. Daniel hesitated, fingers hovering over the cassette. Dust floated in the golden morning light as he pressed play. Static hissed, filling the room with an eerie, crackling hum. Then faintly Anna's voice came through. Clear, calm, but weighted with a sorrow that pierced him. "Daniel, if you're hearing this, it means you stayed." The words wrapped around him like a cold wind. He closed his eyes, letting memory and warning collide. Her voice continued, calm yet exhausted. "They don't want people here when it happens, but someone has to stay. Someone has to watch." Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine. He whispered back, though there was no reply. "I stayed." Realization sank deep. He wasn't alone in purpose, yet completely isolated. The weight of responsibility pressed down, mingling with fear and understanding. By afternoon, the sky itself seemed different. Not clouds, but a thick, unnatural veil dimming the sun. The town felt smaller, closer, almost like it had shrunk around him. Every sound echoed unnaturally long. Footsteps in the empty street carried like thunder. Leaves rustled, whispering secrets of the unseen. Daniel walked carefully, listening, learning the rhythm of the altered world. Something had shifted. Something alive was watching from the edge of town. Movement, slow, purposeful, not fleeing, not random. Something measured, deliberate. Daniel froze, remembering the fear from 12 years ago, yet he did not run. He stayed, observing, heart thudding. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the buildings, hinting at shapes that didn't belong. Something ancient stirred in the emptiness. A piece of paper slid silently under his door. No footsteps, no sound, it read. "Thank you for SDAYNG." Daniel stepped back. His heart pounded. Questions raced, who, why, how, but no answers came. Only the wind whispering across the empty street. He played the tape again. Anna's voice returned, clearer now, like a guide from the past. "They evacuate because they don't want witnesses. Whatever comes, it needs to be seen." Daniel understood. His family hadn't vanished, they had stayed. Their presence, like his, a bridge between the unknown and reality. Night arrived unnaturally fast. Streetlights flickered on, then off. Darkness pressed against the windows like a living, breathing entity. Daniel sat in the center of the house, listening to the quiet hum of shadows, waiting, watching, feeling the pulse of the town itself. Every object in the room seemed to lean in, attentive to his presence. The night was alive. A low sound rose from beneath the town, a vibration that seemed to resonate with his very bones. Not explosive, not violent, more like awakening. Tears filled his eyes, not of fear, but recognition. A memory, a call, an understanding of the life that lingered just below. He could feel the town breathing, aware, preparing. A shadow passed the window, tall, still, watching. Daniel stood up, heart racing, voice calm yet firm. "I see you." Shadow did not move. Its presence was weighty, deliberate. Daniel realized he was not alone, not entirely. He stepped outside. The air was heavy, vibrating beneath his feet. The ground seemed alive, reacting to his movement. Memories of Anna's last smile and Caleb's laughter surged in his mind. Someone had to stay. Someone had to witness. He walked forward, determined, a single figure against the immense living town. The ground split silently beneath him. Light poured upward, warm and strange. Shapes moved inside the glowing fissure, not hostile but curious. Daniel shielded his eyes, feeling a connection he could not describe. The world had changed. He had changed. He was no longer merely human, merely observer. A voice entered his mind, not words but feelings. Compassion, awareness, patience. They did not come to destroy. They came because someone had chosen to remain. The evacuations were not protection, they were preparation. Daniel absorbed it all, understanding that staying meant bridging two worlds. He understood his role: witness, anchor, proof, someone to remember. Every heartbeat mattered. Every glance across the fissure, every echo in the silent town was testimony. Daniel's existence had a purpose now far greater than simple survival. When the sun rose, the town appeared unchanged. No damage, no sign of intrusion. Only Daniel was gone from view, a silent observer folded into the rhythm of life. The world returned to normal, or as normal as a town that had witnessed the unseen could. Weeks later, evacuation orders stopped. One final message appeared across the emergency systems: "Thank you to those who stayed." No one understood why. No one saw the truth except Daniel.